Hi, everyone. Welcome to season 4 of Real Talk. With me, your host, Dr. Asha Prasad. I am so happy that you're here. I had promised you at the end of season 3 that we were going to be on video, so that way we can connect. Video podcasting is something that it's just great because you get to connect face to face. So let's get into today's subject. Let's just dive into it. Thank you for being here. If you're new here, this is a podcast that talks and helps you about having real conversations. We're going to be talking about all aspects of life, health, wellness. A little bit about my background is I am a healthcare practitioner. I've been a chiropractor for almost 3 decades. It's been quite some time. I work with patients. I also have been coaching for the last 12 years and coaching people on a little bit deeper level of the connection of mind and body and how that impacts your health, well-being, your experience of life, and your mindset. So I cover a whole variety of things. My approach is very holistic because I believe that everything is connected and that we are much more than just our minds or much more than just our bodies. Everything's all connected. So I talk about a variety of things, and I've had a vast amount of experiences in my life in a lot of different ways, professionally and personally, that I wanted to start a podcast to share those things with you. So that's where Real Talk is. If you have joined me on my previous podcast, I do have a previous 2 podcasts that are available still on where you can catch your audio, or even on my YouTube channel. You can kind of go back and look through the library of that. But anyway, I want to get started with today's topic. Today, I want to talk about shining your light, what it means to be your true self. This has been something that I think all of us deal with, all of us struggle with, from one point or another, of how can I be my true self? How do I find my tribe of people that support that? How do I find the passion in my work? How do I find the clients? How do I find, collaborators, or even in personal? How do I find friends or my, partnerships? How do I find that? And I think it's something to understand. First of all, we have to learn to be kinder with ourselves. That's something I have really, really learned over the years, is that when you're trying to figure out who you are, what you stand for, what your values are, sometimes we realize that the people around us or the circumstances that we're in currently don't match what we truly value. But we keep ourselves small, we shrink ourselves, and we compromise on these really important things in order to belong to a group or to belong to something. And I understand that. It works. It works for a while until it doesn't. It works until you start feeling uncomfortable. You feel tense. You feel it can be painful. Literally, in your mind, emotions, or even physically, it can actually be painful when you are staying somewhere where you are not in alignment with your values. Now, what do I mean by that? So, for example, if you value kindness and compassion, and you look around and all your friends that you have around you or whoever you're socially involved with don't have that. They're quite the opposite. You are actually aligning with some value that is not yours. What will happen with that is that you will start to feel a disconnect. Now, you will feel uncomfortable. You may feel tense the entire time that you're hanging out with these people. You could start feeling it physically. You could have tension or headaches. I have a story to share with you. I remember, this was probably 20 years ago now, but I remember there was a particular friend that I had that I enjoyed hanging out with. But at some point, I realized that our values were not the same. This person was not, we just had different, not only, we had similar interests, but our values, family, relationship, connection, those things were not the same, some foundational things. And every time I had an appointment, like to meet with her, to go somewhere with her, I had a headache. And I had a really bad headache, a debilitating headache that I couldn't go. And I ended up canceling more than anything. And I was wondering, I'm like, why does this always happen with this particular person? I started noticing the patterns because, as a practitioner, I notice patterns. And when I see those patterns and I start talking to, it's so funny. Whenever you're working with people, you start to realize that some of the things that you're talking to other people about are the things that you need to hear. And that's where I was at that point. And so I started to realize that there was a pattern. And when I, was digging a little bit deeper, evaluating what was really happening, I realized that it's because our value system was just not in alignment. And I was spending time and spending energy of maybe even pretending at that time to value other things that I really did not deep down in my heart. So I share that example with you because maybe you're in situations like that. Maybe you're in a work situation that way. Maybe you're in a personal relationship that way. Maybe you are in a friendship that way. What happens is that if we do that for too long, we actually are harming ourselves. We're keeping ourselves, first of all, from being our true selves. We're keeping ourselves from living our true purpose. And it can be very painful, and it can cause a lot of tension and unhappiness in our life. Now, I know there are certain situations, for example, if it is in your workplace, maybe you're not able to leave your job. Maybe you're not able to search for something else. That's where there's another conversation that you have to have with yourself of figuring out, okay, how far am I willing to go? And how far am I willing to compromise my own boundaries? You get to a point where you won't want to anymore. Okay, this has been my experience, and it will really benefit you greatly. It not only benefits yourself, but it benefits everyone around you, because then there's true honesty. You don't have to hide behind a mask. You don't have to hide who you truly are. And this is something that I think that we need more of in the world, of people being truly genuine of who they are as much as they can. And I know for all of us, it is a struggle and it is a learning process. Even for myself, after years and years of helping people, I still have, as a human being, things that I need to learn as well. Now, as far as being your true self and finding your tribe, I know a lot of times what I hear and what I've heard over the years from clients that I've had is that they're afraid that if they let go of what they have, that there won't be anybody around or anything, or maybe they won't be able to find a job, or maybe they won't have any friends, maybe they won't have a relationship. I can understand that. That is a valid fear to have. I think we all go through this. We have a sense of belonging. We want to belong to a group. We want to belong. The thing about that is that what I have found is that as you let go, as you start to get real with yourself, this is about your relationship with yourself. As you start to admit what's really important to you, what you value, what it is that you actually want to experience in life, and who you want to have around you, as you start to distance yourself and let go, the universe brings you exactly what you need and who you need, opportunities that you need. But there's a trust factor that we have to learn, and trust comes with practice. We have to practice and we have to learn to trust ourselves. Now, I know that that's easier said than done. In a lot of situations, it's easier said than done, because what happens is, for us over the years, relationships go bad. We make mistakes. Other people maybe do things that are not okay. And we forget to forgive ourselves in the process. We may forgive other people, which is great, but we have to forgive ourselves and learn to be kinder with ourselves and have more compassion. So I'm curious, how have you experienced this? Are you dealing with not being able to shine your light, not being able to be yourself? I would love to hear from you. Let's have a conversation about this. Please drop a comment below. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, you can catch this podcast on audio still on Spotify and Apple and wherever else that you listen to your podcast. But I'd love to catch you and connect you here face to face. Any questions, any comments, please drop a comment below. Love to hear from you. And I look forward to this season of Real Talk with Dr. Asha. Thank you so much. Until next time.